I'm Tom Johnson, Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. This is a nice ladies' writing desk. That's what we've always called them. It's probably from the early 20th century, maybe 1920 or so. It's got this applied carving, very much like late Victorian oak furniture, but this piece is made of mahogany. And it's got a few problems with it. For instance, this gallery is broken. It has, these lid supports come out automatically with a mechanism, and they're a little stiff. There you go. Some of these pieces have come off, these decorative pieces, but you've got them all. They all came with it. So they just need to be glued back. The legs are loose, at least this one, probably another one too. And then the finish, it's really kind of rough looking. This one particular side is really bad. We'll have to see what we can do about that. So the first thing I want to do is take the drawer out, and then I want to remove this lid. You know, I'm having second thoughts about taking these hinges off. I've worked on these before. Usually there's exposed screws in this area here. This one doesn't have it. The screws are way down there inside this thing. There's a little screw down in there, and I'm sure there's more along here. And see, there's another screw way down in there. I suspect that if you took these pigeonholes out of here, we might get some more accessible screws underneath of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this attached for now. And, you know, I can see that there's stuff caught up in here. I mean, obviously that's why it didn't work correctly. So maybe I can clean these out, lubricate them, and it'll work fine. I'm going to try that first anyway. I think I should work on these hinges first, get them working correctly, because that makes a difference whether or not I need to remove this lid or not. So I better find that out first. Right off the bat, you can see some of these papers and stuff that are pieces of paper that are stuck down in there. Maybe I can pull them out. Here's where the hinge connects to a lever on these lid supports. I'm going to take those off. That'll allow me to lubricate the lid supports and maybe give a clue as to what's hanging this thing up. Yeah, you can see that this moves with difficulty. And that's a good sign. And because I can lubricate this up and see what's happening here. Right off the bat, you can see there's a piece of felt here that's loose, and that's hanging it up at some point here, maybe even there too. See, it doesn't want to close. So there's an extra layer of felt here, and that part is coming up. I think I'll just trim that off and then wax everything up and see how it works. This side runs against the side of the cabinet, which I'll wax also. All these spots and drips are indicative that possibly this has been refinished before. Oh yeah. That works freely now. So I'll do the same thing to the other support, and we'll see how things work. I'm guessing that the hinges, I still need to lubricate them and clean them out, maybe with some compressed air. All right, lid supports are out. Oh man. Okay, something's hanging it up. funny, something stopped it right about there, but then now it's working free. Oh, there it goes. I got to find out what is happening right there. I don't think, it's a pretty good wad of paper. Maybe, I didn't think the paper is causing this to happen, but maybe it is. Oh, getting that paper out seems to have really helped. Boy, I hope that was the problem. Boy, that really helped. It's moving quite freely now. And I still just want to give it a speck of lubricant. So before I put this back on the bench to reconnect the lid supports and start working on the legs, I want to remove this broken piece of the gallery. Yeah, these are connected. I have to take off the entire gallery here. Oh, good. They're not glued or anything. Oh man. All right. Now we can work on his legs. So yeah, these legs are really loose, all except one. There's a lot of stuff going on here. They've all got these big plugs or dowels. I don't know what they are. We're going to have to figure that out. You can see down here that we got nails, these same big plugs which look like they are dowels because one of them's sticking through right there at an angle. That's going to be bad. I think what I'm seeing here, I don't know if you can see it, the original dowels. I'll get some wedges. See, if these two dowels, which I suspect were added, are angled, which they most probably are, it's going to be trouble getting this thing off. Now you can see the original dowels. My guess is there's 3 dowels going straight up in here. I still haven't seen those diagonal dowels yet. I don't know where they got up to. It really feels like it wants to come off, but it won't. And that's those daggone diagonal dowels. Well, I don't see them. Oh yeah, I think I do. This is interesting to me. You know, it appears that there's only one dowel originally. Here's your 2 diagonal dowels. I've worked on a lot of furniture from this era, and I would say that every one of setups like this almost always had 3 dowels, or they'd have one large dowel with 2 screws going through these knee blocks. This one appears to have only been doweled originally with a single dowel. Seems funny to me. They're just not giving us much to work with here. What I'm thinking right now is I just glue this back the way that it was, and then I'm going to add some screws out here, out on these blocks, going straight into the piece to help give it some stability so everything's not in the center here. I just don't think there's much else I can do. I'll start by taking off the other leg and thinking about it. This is the one leg that seems secure, so we'll leave that alone, but we'll keep an eye on it. I'll try this one. Seeing some daylight through there, maybe I can get a wedge down in there. Boy, what a mess. Especially this area here where this board, there's a piece of it attached to the leg, but not everything. Once again, not sure the best way to go here, but in the meantime, I'll get this leg off and keep thinking about it. I think the first thing I need to do is glue this board back into place. It's mortise and tenon into the frame. You can see the big gap here. And so what I need to do is detach this board from the back, which is this board here, and re-glue it into place, this side and the other side. Looks awful tight. It might be glued to the back. Boy, I don't think these boards are going to separate. You know, I'm thinking that I can back these two boards out together. You know, this rail is solidly attached to this back. The back's solid wood, oddly enough. That's very unusual. And it's cracked due to shrinkage. It's only got like one nail holding this in. Maybe I can back it out and then glue it back where it's supposed to go. Alright, so the first thing I'll do is glue up these splintered bits. I'm using hide glue here, but for breaks like these, any water-soluble glue, you know, regular carpenter's glue would work fine. Okay, as we're waiting for those to dry, we can glue up this top gallery piece. Okay, this piece has been in clamps for a couple hours. I think I can take the clamps off and glue it back. I want to be sure there's pressure on the tenon in there. All right, tomorrow we'll glue the legs on. This seems really solid now. Now, because these dowels were drilled at an angle, I can't put it back on with the dowels there. I have to drill those out or knock them out, glue the leg, and then put them back again. And the thought just occurred to me, I can reuse these dowels. This one's not giving it up like the others. Maybe I'm going to apply some heat to it. I need to at least get this chunk of wood off intact. No, it's not going to go. So the diagonals are off by maybe 3/16 of an inch or so. So the diagonal measurements are slightly off, but the legs are all solid up against the frame here. I think that the diagonals are close enough. Everything looks fine, everything's exactly where it's supposed to be, so I'm going to leave that alone. All right, now I can start gluing down the little scroll pieces in here. All these other pieces belong to another piece of furniture. I'll be sure to get them back. These spring clamps have adjustable tension, which is fantastic for small pieces like this. I can't clamp this one. I think I just have to hold it. I'll hold it for a few minutes till it seems to grab. Yeah, it's already grabbing. And the third one. Okay, gonna let all this dry overnight. Boy, these legs seem rock solid. So now I'm going to reinstall these dowels. Oh, I just realized this is the one without a number. That dowel broke. But I have a new dowel here to use for this one. All right, I'm going to wait to touch things up here till tomorrow. I want to let the glue dry. Okay, we've got a few issues with the finish here. I think I'm going to start though with this damage to the front. These are all applied carvings. I guess they're applied. They look great. And this area here has been scraped, and there's some wood missing. But it's so little, I don't know if I can actually replace it with putty or anything. I'm going to try sanding this this damaged area with some very fine paper, some 220, and just see if I can smooth it out. This is actually, these areas are smoothing up better than I even thought they would. So I'm going to try putting a light stain on these areas. So I'm going to take some Perfect Brown dye stain, thin it out with alcohol. So I've thinned this out like 2/3 alcohol, 1/3 stain, somewhat imprecise. That's what I'm worried about, it being too dark. You know, because these areas are not perfectly smooth. That's not bad. I think it'll work. It's drying a little lighter than it looks at first, so I think it's going to work. And maybe I'll even try these spots on either side where it hits the support. Okay, I'm going to let all that dry for a while. I'm going to rig up a bench so we can turn it on its side. I want to start with this side. This is by far the worst area. So the first step always is to clean. So I'm going to take a nice rag and just spritz a little crud cutter on it and try patting it. Boy, that looks great. This area may need a little of that stain, obviously. This cleaner, being water-based, should take care of this hide glue. I may have to just soak it a little bit more with plain water. I'll stick with the plain water here just to get this glue off. Okay, back to the crud cutter. Boy, I'm really happy about the way that this cleaned up. It looked really good. I'm going to put some stain in these raw areas and take care of this touch-up, and then do the same treatment to the rest of the desk. Those flush cut saws, the teeth are so fine. I think this one should do better. I gotta fill those gaps. Stain's a little light, but that's good. I'll just go back over it a couple times. That's the nice thing about dye stains, is that you can, go back and apply more stain and make the area darker and darker. Bring it in to where you want it. Because the worst thing that could happen is that your area get too dark. And then if these are still a little too light, I can tone them a bit with the aerosol toner. This side of the cabinet's a lot better than the other side. I mean, as the entire piece is better than the other side. But I'll go over it with the cleaner, just the same. Very little touch-up on this side. Taking these gallery supports off reminds me I glued the long piece together. I've still got to get the glue off of that and touch it up. I'm hoping you can see the little watermarks all throughout here and how they're going away as I pad with the cleaner. This brush is just slightly damp with the cleaner. I'm leaving both discussions on for now. And what you see here is the original color, except it is awfully red. But I noticed the same thing about the drawers inside. I got to clean up. This is the top piece of the gallery. I got to clean it up. It's got lots of glue on it. And I might have to fill these cracks a little bit. I just use plain water to get the glue off. I have to work it a little bit. These are the two side pieces of the gallery. Oh, I still got to take care of my my touch-up here. I was thinking that I might just wax this, but I'm a little concerned about this area. This was pretty raw. I think I'll French polish it a little bit with some Lubricite. And while I'm at it, I might as well do this side. I just feel a little bit better about sealing this in a bit before I wax it. You know, I'm not trying to like French polish this up to a high sheen or anything. Just that this side was so raw, I was afraid the wax might just soak right into it. And so I'm hoping that this, well, I know this will help seal it off a bit. All right, let's give it a try. All right, I'm gonna go eat lunch and then come back and buff this. Okay, let's see how it buffs up. Yeah, it seems to, it's got a nice sheen to it now. I wouldn't mind if the sheen was a little higher. I may let this dry until tomorrow and wax it again. See if I can bring the sheen up a bit, but it looks good, especially compared to what it looked like starting off. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed to wax the rest of it. Oh, I almost forgot. I wanted those raw areas that I stained, I wanted to put a little shellac on them and seal them off. All right, I'll just continue waxing the rest of the desk while that dries. There's a small defect here. Sanding it very lightly with a little 220. A little stain. Seal it with some shellac. And a piece of yellow tape so I don't forget. The interior is in good shape, but it has tons of minor scratches and dings all over it. I'm going to wipe it out with a damp rag, and then I'm going to use Old English scratch cover on it. I've left the scratch cover on for an hour or so, and now I'll wipe it out with a paper towel. I'll go over it with the same Gilboys wax, just with a rag. I already used steel wool on it. Oh, I don't want to forget about our gallery pieces here. This crack I just want to fill in with this wax stick rather. And I'll use the same Gilboys wax. Well, there it is, a really nice ladies' writing desk, probably from the early part of the 20th century, solid mahogany. If you remember, when it came in, the gallery was broken. The lid wouldn't open at all. And this reminds me, I didn't repair the lock, and I'm going to find just a dummy key to fit in there as a pull. This side was really bad shape, but it cleaned up and waxed up fine. And of course, the legs, it was really wobbly, and they re-glued 3 of the legs. 1 was okay. I think it looks pretty good.